rookie Adrian Del Castillo in his second major league game. It's a fly ball to right field, and he's the first player in Diamondbacks history whose first career home run is a walk-off winner. Diamondbacks win it.
Welcome back to your Valley Sports Plugs Arizona Diamondbacks recap for August 5th through August 18th, 2024. I'm Chris Patrick with Michael Benjamin and VSP Tallman. We're here to break it all down for the Valley. So let's go. In the last 2 weeks, the Arizona Diamondbacks have gone 9-4 over 4 series, picking up a pair of sweeps along the way, and their current record holds at 69-56 on the season. We start this recap on the road, taking on the Cleveland Guardians at Progressive Field for 3 games. The series opened up on a bit of a shaky note in Game 1, but we got the win in extra innings thanks to an Eugenio Suarez sac fly to right that scored Corbin Carroll. Game 2 was rained out, which set up a rare doubleheader for the D-backs. Brandon Pfaadt got the job done early in the day, and Eduardo Rodriguez made his season debut, striking out just 1 in 5 2/3 innings of work. But the D-backs sweep the Guardians and keep their hot streak rolling. After that, it was back home for the highly anticipated 4-game series with the Philadelphia Phillies at Chase Field. The Snakes dropped Game 1 after a tough battle. Jordan Montgomery with the start gave up 4 runs, all coming in the 6th inning before he got pulled. The game was tied 4-4 entering the 7th, but a JT Realmuto solo home run put the Phillies up, and the D-backs couldn't answer back in this one. The Diamondbacks must have felt some type of way about that because they answered, winning the remaining 3 games of this series in convincing fashion and outscored the Phillies 23-6 in the final 2 games. Staying at home, the Snakes look to keep up their momentum and stack some more wins against a struggling Colorado Rockies team, currently the worst in the National League. Despite 2 close games to open this series and some late-game heroics, the Diamondbacks stayed the course to pull out the expected sweep, winning all 3, which gave them a 6-game win streak going into the last series here. And finally, the D-backs hit the road once again to start their tour of Florida and the East Coast this last weekend series with the Tampa Bay Rays for 3 games, and, well, just not what we had expected or hoped to see. The D-backs lose a close Game 1 off a fielding error by Jake McCarthy, and in Game 2 weren't able to get the offense going at all, only scoring once off 5 hits. Zach Gallen also got beat up in this one, giving up 4 runs in 5 innings of work. Not for a lack of effort in Game 3, the D-backs rally as Adrian Del Castillo hit a massive 3-run home run in the top of the 9th to tie it at 6 apiece. The Rays still had enough fight in them to get a 1-run advantage and win in the 12th inning. The first time the D-backs have been swept since May 29th when the Rangers won a 2-game series against the Snakes, and only the 3rd time that the Diamondbacks have been swept all season. Some ups and downs, but we keep on pushing. So now we'll pass it over to Mike for his thoughts on the last 2 weeks.
Fellas, it's easy to get caught as a prisoner of the moment when you're on the heels of getting swept, like Chris said, for the first time. I guess technically since May. It was only a 2-game series, but I'm saying first time since April. But let's not forget the overall picture of this team. 18-6 in the past 24 games. It's just something you can't shrug off. The ability for this team to stay composed, to grab a sweep after a rain delay forces a doubleheader in Cleveland is impressive. And how they dismantled the Phillies at home, putting up 10-plus runs in the final 2, and in front of some huge crowds as well, should boost everyone's confidence. And not to mention, our guy Corbin Carroll seems to be catching a little bit of fire right now. Over the last 9, he's hitting .294 with 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, and 12 runs scored. He didn't record a hit in just one of those games, and he's getting the timely hits to keep us within the grasp of these games. That is key. But, okay, let's get a little nitpicky here because we can, right? I don't want to break everything down, but there are lingering concerns with the bullpen still. But my biggest concern right now, fellas, is Gabby Moreno. The second opinion did come back positive, saying he doesn't need surgery for the groin strain. But when is he coming back? Like, we really haven't heard anything yet. And Tallman was saying before this, Jose Herrera gave up 4 stolen bases on Saturday and 7 on Sunday against the Rays. 7? I mean, we are recording this early, so we know what Adrian Del Castillo did on Monday, the 19th at bat. But Gabby is just the consistency that I talk about when I say this is what really propels this team, right? Not only his competency at bat, but his surefire glove, the camaraderie he has with these starters, and his growing confidence as a key contributor for this team. Not only now, but for years to come. And don't get me started on the continued injuries. We'll let Tallman handle that. And with that being said, Tallman, what have you been seeing over the last 2 weeks, man?
Yeah, Mike, I mean, we just heard Chris go through the last 2 weeks. I mean, you sweep the team with the best record in baseball and the Guardians. You absolutely hand it to the Phillies, where we give out the ring on Saturday, have record attendance. And man, what a great 2 weeks, but what a sour way to end it. This previous series against the Rays in Tampa Bay. And it's so hard that's all that's stuck in my head right now. It doesn't feel like just the weekend before that we were absolutely whooping the Phillies. So I'm with you, though, on missing Gabby Moreno, man. I mean, they had 13 stolen bases. That is the Rays against the D-backs in this 3-game series, which is the most that any team's had in any series in MLB this year. It's like the Rays took a book out of the 2023 D-backs, just creating chaos on the base pass, and we had absolutely no answer for it. And then also, it's hard not to think about our 2 best pitchers. They're not pitching like our best pitchers. I mean, I know Merrill Kelly's coming back. He's still working stuff out, but his velocity was just not there. The guy was getting hit so hard. And then we saw Zach Gallen struggle on Saturday, where he was already at like 50, 60 pitches through the 3rd inning. So he looks like he's got something going on. And for me to be really good about where this team's at going into September, I really need to see those guys get back to form. But again, we mentioned it was a great 2 weeks for the Diamondbacks. You can't win them all, but it's really hard not to feel some type of way after that weekend series in Tampa Bay. And then not to mention, it happened today too. Marte officially got moved to the 10-day injured list. And it's like, what's going on, guys? We saw him come back batting left. He went to swing and he buckled, right? And then he just came back as a pinch hit scenario over the weekend where he was batting from the right side. So you're thinking, okay, maybe that left ankle doesn't have all the weight on it. But he goes to check a swing and he collapses again in the batting box. So where's the rush to get him back? Why didn't we just sit him down and say, hey, right off the bat, maybe you should go to the 10-day list. Let's give you a break. We're absolutely rolling right now. I mean, I know that he wants to be in these games. He wants to be playing because he really, really, really wants to be in the question for the NL MVP. But hey, at this point now, him going on the 10-day list, we can kiss that goodbye. I mean, you've seen Ohtani just continue to mash the ball, and we're going to see a DH win the MVP for the first time in league history, which is crazy. But let's talk about some positives. I mean, as bad as this offense was over the weekend, we were still in it in 2 of those games, right? The Rays walked us off on Friday in the bottom of the 9th, and then we saw on Sunday, it went 12 innings, and you got some timely hits from Del Castillo. That kid, dude, he's got 2 home runs in his MLB career. One of them was for a walk-off, and his second one was a crazy game-tying one in the 9th. So hats off to him. But also, you can't forget about Ryan Nelson. I mean, we saw some bad starting pitching over the weekend, but we saw some good stuff out of Nelson. But again, we can't win them all. It's hard to not want to win them all when you have the Padres and Dodgers continuing to grow that lead on you guys. But hey, what I'm looking at now, which is funny that we mentioned it in our last stream, was, what's a big series that you're looking at? That Mets series just got a lot bigger after the sweep in Tampa Bay. They won 2 out of 3 over the weekend. We dropped 3. The distance between us, the Mets, and the Braves, who's going to fight out for that last wild card spot, it's going to be something to look at as we move through the end of August into September. But I know I'm doom and gloom right now, but it's just hard not to feel that way when you have such a sour taste in your mouth after this previous series in Tampa Bay. But we're still in a good spot.
No, you're exactly right, Tom. And there is no doubt that we're still in a good spot. And it's easy to be disappointed after what we just saw in that Tampa Bay series. But there were 2 close games in there that we were right in the battle for and could have won. It was that fielding error by McCarthy in game 1. And then in game 3, we took them to extra innings all the way to the 12th. And they had to walk off both of those games to get the win. So this could have gone just as easily being a sweep of the Diamondbacks to being 2-1 Diamondbacks winning it. It's a game of inches, fellas. And again, baseball is unique where they play the most games, right? 162 games in a season. And it seems like from the fan perspective that every game really does count, especially when you get to the end of the season and say, wow, we're 1.5, 2 games out, we're 2 games up. Those games really matter. So We could be looking back on this Tampa Bay series asking what if, on top of the injuries that you mentioned mounting up. I mean, Christian Walker was the first domino to fall. Gabriel Moreno, number 2. Now Ketel Marte is out. I just think it's crazy this time right now with the Diamondbacks. We are having our offensive players now be injured, where our pitchers are now fully healthy. But the inconsistency of Gallen is an issue. It seems like he's either hot or cold, got beat up real bad in his last start. I just think the pitching staff in general, from the bullpen to the starters, really need to lock it down, because we know what these bats can do. We know what the offense is capable of, but can the pitching hold up behind him? Just my last thought as we talk about player health and this revolving door of guys we're sending up, trading for, bringing down. What are they going to do with Josh Bell once Christian Walker comes back? We pretty much have Jock Peterson written in at the DH spot. So now does Josh Bell DH when you have a left-handed pitcher? I don't know. I think there are a lot of questions, as well as that's not even talking about this closing pitcher situation where Martinez looks good one night and then the other he doesn't. Tallman, you were telling me Sewald's velocity is up. We've had him pitching in the 7th and 8th. Can he work his way back to being the 9th inning guy and the closer for this team? I don't know. We need to figure out something before the end of the season. We have 37 games left until the end of the season, so plenty of time to figure it out. But this is the home stretch, and we got to start stacking wins, and that all starts in the next 2 weeks. Mike, looks like kind of a tough slate. What are we looking at for the next 2?
Chris, coming up in the next 2 weeks, the Snakes stay in Florida for a 3-game matchup against the Miami Marlins, and we stay on the road and head to Beantown to match up against the Red Sox. And after that, it's back to the Valley for a 3-game stint against wildcard hopeful New York Mets. And we finish things off with a clash of the Titans, a 4-game series against the NL West leading and dreaded Los Angeles Dodgers. Some tough tests coming up, but I think the boys should be prepared for this one. It's going to be a fun 2 weeks.
I can't wait to see what the Snakes do. Hopefully they keep on rolling. Hopefully they start to get healthy. So guys, we're going to keep bringing you a Diamondbacks recap every 2 weeks throughout the season. So make sure you like and subscribe for more Arizona Diamondbacks and Valley Sports action. For Michael Benjamin and VSP Tallman, I'm Chris Patrick, and we'll see you next time. Peace.